Well, Native American art can also take on many forms. Sometimes it's for the eyes and sometimes for the ears, like the flute maker in our next story. Joining me now is our Lisa Hines.
That's right, Rob. As one of three makers of the authentic traditional Creek flute, Nelson Harjo takes his heritage and art form seriously. He started making flutes in 1995 and now teaches flute making to help keep the tradition going. Mark it, drill it, test it. Nelson Harjo is a traditional flute maker making flutes by hand.
For demonstration purposes, I do. At home, I do have machines. I do have a lathe. I do have a router and everything. I do have planers and, all these other little nifty tools. But this past year, I didn't use them. Everything for me was made strictly by hand. And that felt real good to be able to make contact with the wood because I wanted to get reconnected again with them. I wanted to feel them within my hands. And that's helped. And so now I've moved back to using machines again, but I feel like I'm more connected with it now. Still not there.
A connection that Nelson says is important when creating his flutes.
Because there's still a lot of flute players that are out there that still want to play the traditional style flute. The traditional style flute, the higher note on the flute, it's a little off pitch. It sounds a little off pitch. And a person that's been trained musically, they could hear that. But for our people, that one note being off pitch like that, it's music to our ears. Because it kind of like, that note is kind of resemblance of life, I guess, in one sense of the way. It's because sometimes we're not always in tune. There's those moments to when you're off pitch, so that helps bring out those feelings and everything as you play the songs and stuff.
Provided by the Seminole Sovereignty Initiative.
Nelson's mentor is a Choctaw man who teaches river cane flute making. Lessons Nelson uses in his own craft, making his flutes even better.
It took me probably about 3 or 4 years to even figure a lot of those things out. And so with trial and error on that, by the time I reached about my 5th year of doing it, well then, before that, I had a pile of river canes sitting about this high that were pieces that I'd done that were no good. I just had to throw them away. And then my pile began to dwindle and dwindle, and I began to make more flutes and figured out how to get the sound out of them a lot better. And actually figured out how to make my own flute.
Carrying on a tradition from long ago.
In our tribes, we've lost enough. We've lost enough in our language. There's just a lot of the traditions that in the removal, there's things that we lost along the way. There's things that we don't do anymore. And there's just a lot of things, and if this is just but one thing that I can do to help, within our traditions, well, then that's what I want to do. Because what scares me is that because nobody else teaches it within our tribe, if I die right now, well, then that's it. Still a lot more. I mean, there's makers, but they don't teach nobody, and that'll be it. I don't like all the attention, and sometimes they give it to me, but I wish they would just look at the importance of maintaining the tradition.
Now Nelson uses different woods to make his flutes, but really likes to use traditional river cane.
The only thing that I can really say about that, and this is what I think about when I think about our other flutes and stuff, especially the river cane that comes from the homeland, when I get the opportunity to get the river cane from there, I treat it with a lot of care because that particular cane, and a lot of places that they get it from, has been there for years. It's been there since even before the removal. And so when I get that, my thoughts is that these flutes, or this cane, has seen and heard a lot of things around there. And sometimes it talks to you, and you can feel it, to whether or not it's going to do anything or not a lot of times. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's kind of the way I do it.
It's a business that Nelson says didn't start out that way.
I don't like selling those flutes. But I'd rather keep them and play them, but just about every flute that I've ever made has all been sold. And so I don't even have any flutes at home that I keep to play. If I'm going to go play somewhere, then I make flutes to go play. And then I end up usually selling them wherever I go to, and then I'm right back over the process again.
And his flutes are everywhere.
Never would have dreamed that I would have flutes in other countries. I never would have dreamed that my flutes would travel clear across the United States. I didn't start it out to be number 3 or number 2 or number 1. I just started out to make flutes for my family, and I got a real passion about it.
a passion that keeps on going.
I have one song, and I don't know the song yet, but it's back here in my mind. And to me, it's a real beautiful song. It'll probably be my final song. That'll probably be the time that I'll learn it too, is when it comes close to time. But that'll be okay. That'll be okay. Because at that time, hopefully my grandson will be, making the flutes. And I told him, I said, because one of these days I'm going to have to stop. And I said, and then you're going to have to take over. And I said, but it'll still be the same kind of flute that I make. I said, but you'll be the new maker, but it's still connected with me. And but I'll feel good when it comes to that time.
Crafting from the heart, an instrument from nature, and keeping a tradition alive.